Hello and welcome guys. So here's my 54 litre planted tank. Quick bit of background, this tank's been set up for about 9 months. It's here in my bedroom. At one point this tank did have an aquascape, and over time the plants have grown like crazy, and as you can see it's turned into a sort of jungle, which I do like the look of. I definitely do. The main sort of feature fish of this tank is this guy right here. See if he'll come up to say hello. Now he is a Siamese fighting fish. I've had him since the tank was set up, and he gets on really well with all the other fish, which, you know, I was really happy about. I was a bit worried at first, but no, he gets on really well with all the other fish. So I'm going to now take a more in-depth look at this tank. What have I got in there? What plants have I got? What am I doing to keep these plants happy and healthy? And I'll take you guys along for the ride. As we can see on this left side, we have a big mound of crypts that are growing into what I call the crypt forest. And we have some anubias growing in the middle here. We can see it's actually starting to flower. And we have just a huge selection of plants. We also have some tiger lotus down here in the front, which is starting to send up these runners to the top. We do have some frog bit as a floating plant in this tank, and some Java moss attached to this piece of wood. Now the fish in here, like I mentioned before, this guy, my betta fish, his name's water white. His colours have changed a lot over the last 9 months. He used to have a completely white body, and over time his body's starting to turn blue, and we can see on the other side it's quite blue. But he's a really docile betta fish. He's quite relaxed. As long as I keep him well fed. I mean, he never chases the other fish, so I just keep him well fed, and he has a lot of places to explore, and he seems pretty happy. Okay, the fish I keep with him are Harlequin rasboras. These guys are the purple Harlequin rasboras, and as we can see here, I think there's some breeding activity going on. I have found quite a few eggs in this tank that have made their way to the bottom. I've picked them out. They haven't hatched, sadly, but these guys constantly seem to be breeding, which is good. I also have about 6 Amano shrimp in here, and some of these guys are absolutely massive, so it's a bit hard to tell how big this female is, but some of these shrimp are getting big, and again I've had these guys for about 9 months. I also have some pygmy Cory catfish, which I rarely see. I might see these guys, oh there's one. I mainly see these guys when there's a water change going on. They might come out to say hi. I mean, even during feeding they stay down below these crypts. I think that's where they like to live, and a lot of the food does make its way down there, so I know they're happy and healthy, and everyone's getting on well in this tank. The soil, for anyone who wants to know, is the Tropica aqua soil. Okay, and all of these plants that I've put in here, apart from the tiger lotus, all of the other plants I have in here are from the Tropica 1-2 grow range. In the past I've set up tanks and had real big problems with blackbrush algae, or algae here in the UK, and that's something that I really did not want in this tank. So all of these plants are grown from tissue cultures, and the Tropica 1-2 grow range has really helped me out with this tank. I've had no issues with blackbrush algae, and very minimal algae in this scape altogether. I think the key to success with wanting to have a tank, a planted tropical tank like this, and you want to avoid algae, is to plant heavily. Okay, so planting stem plants, okay, things like this here. Okay, certain stem plants that are going to grow really fast. Crypts are quite a good idea. I like them, but they are very slow growing. Things like crypts, anubias, moss, these are very slow growing plants. So floating plants and stem plants are very quick growing, and they're going to use up all the excess nutrients in the water really quickly, and the idea is for your plants to outcompete the algae. So your plant's going to be using up the nutrients in the water faster than the algae can. which has really done well. That's the sort of philosophy I went for when I set up this tank, and it's really worked out well. In every tank you are going to have some algae. As you can see, some of the plants do have some green spot algae, and some of the rocks, it's quite hard to tell, but they do have a slight bit of algae. That's natural and normal in any tank you set up. One thing I did add after a few months of setting this tank up was this Tropica CO2 system. I will be doing a review of this in a future video, but it has worked really well for this tank. So aggression in this tank between the fish is minimal. I mean, I had this guy for about a month before I set this tank up, and I could tell he's quite a docile fish, and I tested him out in the tank for a week, and he basically ended up staying in there. He gets on really well with all the other fish. He's got a lot of personality, this beta. He likes to come to the front to greet me. Yeah, so I'm really happy how this tank turned out. Lighting this tank, again, a key thing when keeping plants, is a good lighting system. Okay, so for this tank I have a... Oh, camera's going a bit funny. I have a Fluval aquascape I think this is the first Fluval aquascape. Okay, so the one with the remote. There is also an Fluval aquascape 2.0 out at the moment, which is controlled by an app, which I also do have, and I'll show you in another video. But having a good quality light, be it a bulb, normal sort of fluorescent tube light, or an LED, is really important for plant growth, okay, because the plants can't photosynthesize without light. And even when I didn't have a CO2 tank, CO2 being put into this tank, when I did water changes, I'd still get pearling, and I still do occasionally get pearling in this tank, which I think is really good. So I had no major problems with this tank, and it's been set up for 9 months. It's probably the most successful tank I've had to date, which I'm really happy about. One more thing that I forgot to mention was that in order to keep these plants healthy and happy, I do regularly add fertilizer. I choose to add this Tropica Specialized Nutrition, and I add, there's this guide on the back of how much you're meant to use per week, and in this tank I might go a bit above that guide just because I do have so many plants in here, and it's worked out really well. It keeps the plants healthy, happy and green and growing, which is exactly what I want. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did, and subscribe, and leave a comment down below what you think I should do when I'm going to redo this tank. I'm going to redo the aquascape. Let me know down in the comments below what you think I should do. I really want to hear your guys' opinions. Okay, so thank you very much for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Have a good day, and goodbye.